Vegas. What an honor it is to stand before you tonight. I came here all the way from Abu Dhabi to speak with you about peace in the Middle East, about fight against radical ideologies, and about why this struggle is not just our struggle back home, but it's also important for you here and for every free person in every free nation, including right here in the United States. Now, I'll be very honest with you, I already miss Abu Dhabi. But for the past 2 weeks, many of us in the Gulf states have lived with something that too many here in America and in this room never had to experience directly: missile alerts. Missile alerts on our phones, moments where normal life is interrupted by the need to find cover. Just imagine, please, imagine sitting with your family or working or trying to sleep, and I was sleepless for so many nights. And then suddenly your phone lights up with a message that says, "Missile alert, take cover." And when that becomes your reality, something changed inside you. The regime in Iran has spent decades proving the fears of its neighbors right. They did prove the fears of their neighbors. Many in the Gulf tried caution, we tried patience, but again and again the answer from that regime has been the same: intimidation and escalation and violence. It's like they're saying, "I am the bully of the Middle East." And I want to say something tonight from the bottom of my heart. Every time I received one of those alerts on my phone, and every time I had to take cover, every time I felt the moment of fear and uncertainty, I told myself, yes, I feel anxious, I feel worried. I'm a human being. But if this painful moment leads one day, inshallah, bi'izrat Hashem, to the freedom of the great people of Iran, then so be it. Because let me be clear, our problem is not with the people of Iran, the great people of Iran, historic people, gifted people. I always call them the descendants of Cyrus, people of poetry, civilization, scholarship, beauty and dignity. Our problem is with the radical ideology that's ruling them, that has hijacked a great nation and turned it into a factory of fear for the region. And I say tonight from Las Vegas, with sincerity and respect, the Iranian people deserve better. They deserve a government that builds schools instead of militias like Hezbollah and the Houthis, hospitals instead of proxy armies, and hope instead of terror. They deserve better. And as I stand here, I want to salute, and I want you to join me in saluting the men and women who protect our skies and our land, the United Arab Emirates Armed Forces. Please salute with me the United Arab Emirates Armed Forces. Thank you. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your courage. Thank you for proving that the UAE is not merely a skyline, not merely luxury or glass towers and beautiful architecture. It's a real country, a resilient country, a country with roots, values, discipline, and resolve. And under the leadership of His Highness, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, may God bless him, we feel that resolve. We feel that steadiness. We feel that the sense that the UAE is not fragile, not confused, and not abandoned. And now let me tell you something deeply personal. I have two great peace heroes in the Middle East. One is the leader of the UAE, Sheikh Mohammed, for the courage he showed in 2020 by helping lead the Abraham Accords, the normalization breakthrough between Israel and 4 Arab states, UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan, on and off. Now there's a civil war. Hopefully Sudan will soon recover. It was not an easy thing to do. It was the right thing to do. And my other hero is President Anwar Sadat of Egypt. Why Sadat? Because Sadat did something almost unimaginable in his time. He crossed lines no Arab leader had crossed. He visited Jerusalem. He spoke words no one expected him to speak. He chose a road many considered politically suicidal. And in the end, he paid his life for it. But history, I always say, history remembers. History remembers those who stood for courage and those who stepped down. takes far more courage to make peace than to make war. Anyone can shout, threaten, inflame the crowd, or call for destruction, but it takes vision to extend a hand, as Sadat did. It takes moral courage to say enough blood, enough funerals, enough hatred, enough teaching children to inherit old wars. And yes, peace between Egypt and Israel has often been cold, cautious and fragile, but fragile peace, in my opinion, is better than glorious war. Cold peace is still better than hot death. An imperfect bridge is still better than an endless abyss. And this is why I believe strongly in the Abraham Accord. And I have said it many times, by the way, and I will say it again here in this podium. The Abraham Accords, I view them as the greatest breakthrough in American foreign diplomacy. And credit must be given when credit is due. President Trump and his administration deserve credit for helping bring those accords into existence. And when America, you have to know this as American, and when America chooses to support peace through strength and realism, the Middle East can change. But let me ask you a question. What is the greatest achievement of the Abraham Accords? Is it trade? No. Is it business? لا أنا متستعجب. Is it tourism? لا أنا آسف. Is it technology, architecture, cybersecurity, investment, joint ventures? These are all great and very important, but they are not the greatest achievement. The greatest achievement of the Abraham Accords is people-to-people connection. And for me, the achievement looks like this. One of my cousins from Saudi Arabia called me, and another cousin from Egypt, and they say, Loay, we're coming to Dubai. Take us to the pavilion of your friends. You know, when Expo 2020 was at that time. You know who are my friends? The Israelis. Take us to the pavilion of your friends. And as soon as they meet Israelis, they speak, laugh, share coffee, take pictures, discover one another. And after all the propaganda that they were fed with Al Jazeera and other hate channels, after all the suspicion, after all the emotional baggage of decades, they come back and say, Wallah, your friends are cool people. And I laugh and say, of course they are. So they don't have fangs and tails, that's good. They're normal people, they are great people. And this is the revolution. Not in palaces or ministries or press releases, but in people. This is what I've seen it firsthand and in person with my cousins. Because peace becomes real when it moves from paper to dinner table, from summit meetings to friendships, from government signatures to ordinary human encounters. And this is how history changes. A child who grows up seeing the other side as human is harder to radicalize. A young person who has friends across borders is harder to poison with hatred. And a family that has visited, eaten, and laughed and shared story with the other side is harder to recruit into extremism. This is why radical ideologies fear normal human contact. For me, for 27 years, the first encounter I had with Jews was in Paris. Because when people meet, lies begin to die. And this is why our fight is not only against missiles, or against militias, or against drones. Our fight is against the ideology that teaches children that hatred is holy. It's against the worldview that glorifies death more than life. It's against the machinery of indoctrination that turns grievance into religion and violence into virtue. And I say tonight that the Middle East has unfinished business. Yes, we have the Abraham Accords, but one day, and I hope it's very soon, inshallah, we will have what I call the Cyrus Accords. A lasting peace between Persians and Jews, between Iran and Israel. Real peace. I love the flags, by the way, of the Free Iran, and I have the pin of Free Iran, by the way, as well. The kind of peace that honors history instead of denying it. After all, I want to remind you all, those Jews who are in the hall, the Jewish people, you remember Cyrus as the ruler who allowed your ancestors to return and rebuild Jerusalem. That memory matters. because history really matters. And it reminds us that the relationship between Persians and Jews doesn't have to be defined by slogans of destruction. It can be defined by memory, dignity, and possibility. Can you just imagine, please, I just want you to imagine how the Middle East would look like. Imagine a Middle East in which Israelis and Iranians are not enemies but partners. Not hiding from one another, but visiting one another. Non-stop flights from Tehran to Tel Aviv. Not funding death across borders, but creating prosperity across borders. Can you imagine a Middle East where, please God, a Jewish child in Jerusalem, and a Muslim child in Tehran, and a Christian child in Beirut, and a student in Dubai, all inherit something better than fear? Just imagine. Just imagine how this Middle East would look like. We will build, we will speak, and we will cooperate, and we will choose life. And to the Americans in this room, especially here in Las Vegas, I want to leave you with this. Please, do not underestimate how much your country matters in this story. When America is confused, the extremists smell opportunity. But when America stands clear for peace through strength, like this administration, for alliances with responsible partners, for normalization instead of nihilism, for moderation instead of fanaticism, then doors open in our region that would otherwise remain shut. Yes, I came all the way from Abu Dhabi to Las Vegas to speak about peace, but not a weak peace, not a fake peace, not a peace built on denial. Speaking about a strong peace, a peace that confronts radicalism without apology, a peace that protects the innocent, a peace that believes that Arabs, Israelis, Muslims, and Jews and Persians, inshallah, can have a future together far better than their past. This is the Middle East I believe in. This is the Middle East that is worth fighting for. And let me end with this. I will end with words of one of my favorite Jewish prophets, Yeshayahu, Hanavi Yeshayahu, or Prophet Isaiah. His words are urgent now, as much as they were urgent when he wrote them down thousands of years ago, 2,700 years ago. When he said, I'm going to say it in Hebrew and then in English, okay? Don't judge my Hebrew, it's very, it's a Hebrew that comes from an Arab, okay? Lo yasa goy il goy heref velo yilmedu od milhama. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, they shall learn war no more. May that day come to the Middle East. May that day come to Iran. May that day come to Israel. And may that day come to the Arab world. May it come sooner than we think, with the help of God, Be'ezrat Hashem, inshallah. God bless you all. God bless the people of Iran, and may they be free soon, inshallah. And thank you so much. Thank you.